Allman and Ausar Thompson have $500 million of other people's money riding on their success. That is so much pressure for a 19-year-old. Everyone's talking about Victor Wembanyama in next year's draft. What about the other top prospects? Scoot Henderson could be the #2 pick from the G League. No one has been a star from Overtime Elite. If these Twins fail, the entire league could implode. That's a big deal because people like Jeff Bezos and Drake put money into Overtime. Players arrive at games in a stretch limo. Their court looks like a futuristic NBA arena that most pro teams would die for. They have a 100,000 square foot facility with an NFL style weight room and elite trainers. All that could be wasted if the Thompson Twins mess this up. Overtime needed to get the Thompson Twins to make the project look legit. It was founded by a guy named Dan Porter who ran a big-time player agency. Back in 2016, he started Overtime as a high school highlight company. Their first big posts were Zion Williamson dunks. They got another star with LaMelo Ball, but Porter saw LaMelo take his own path to the NBA by going pro in Australia, and he realized kids are hacking the system. The NCAA refused to let athletes make any money off their talent. So Porter wanted to make a pro pathway to the league and keep Overtime stars like Zion and LaMelo for themselves. They offer each kid a salary of at least $100,000 a year to attend Overtime. If they don't get a pro contract after graduation, they get another $100,000 to attend any university they want. Half the day, players take classes on campus, and the other half, they hoop. There are 3 Overtime teams who play each other, elite prep schools, and international pro teams. The business model relies on content. They're like a TikTok factory. They employ 30 people just to shoot video for TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. The arena has up to 29 cameras to film games. The Lakers building only has 11 cameras. Overtime has over 15 pro-style cameras. They have iPhones. They even have virtual reality. But the big payoff here will be a media rights deal. The NBA is rich from a $24 billion contract with ESPN and TNT. For Overtime to have a slice of that, they need big name players. And if the Thompsons fail, the entire league will be a joke. The reason this all falls on their shoulders is a problem Overtime never saw coming. Ed O'Bannon was a star player at UCLA who won the national championship in 1995. 10 years later, he was at a friend's house and watched that man's kid play a video game with his college team. The friend said he paid like $50 for the game. Ed was like, "Where's my cut?" So he and 11 other players sued the NCAA for $60 million. In 2014, a judge ruled in their favor and said that EA Sports had to stop making all college games. Then in 2019, California signed a law for college athletes to make money off of their name, image, and likeness. The NCAA said, "Oh, this is gonna ruin college sports," but then other states started to pass similar laws. So college could either evolve or die. So they created the NIL Rule. Now, athletes make money off of their own name. I personally know of a quarterback from a small school that you have never even heard of who makes $250,000 a year off NIL. That's more than most adults make in 3 years. When Overtime started off in 2017, NIL didn't exist. But now players make money in college or going to the G League. Overtime no longer solves the money problem. Just to compete with college, they might have to increase their salaries, which would drive up costs even more. On opening weekend last year, they got 23 million views. But I can tell you from YouTube, that's only like $115,000. That's not sustainable. So their only hope is to attract huge Zion-level names if the Thompson Twins pan out. They were the first big-name players to ever sign with Overtime after their junior year at Pinecrest Academy in Florida. They won a state title in 2020, then started creeping up the national rankings. Big-time colleges started to recruit them, but an Overtime scout saw them at an AAU tournament. Allman actually didn't even want to go to Overtime, but changed his mind because of their facilities and trainers. So their only advantage now isn't money, it's that they can develop NBA talent better than college or the G League. Oh, what about building their brand on Overtime social media? They'll never be bigger than college like Duke or Kentucky. I mean, Zion's dunks didn't go viral because of Overtime. So how good are the Twins actually? Well, they're really talented and have upside, but need a lot of work. During their first season with Overtime, Amin shot 22% from 3 and 56% from the foul line. Ausar was 24% from 3 and 65% free throws. They just had their first real test overseas against a Serbian team. NBA scouts watched Amin go 0 for 5 from deep and Ausar 0 for 10. The good news is shooting is one thing that players can develop in the league. The Twins have what you can't teach: IQ, athleticism, and size. Overtime made sure to put both of them on different teams from the beginning so that NBA scouts could tell them apart. If they are top 5 picks next year, it will be the first time in NBA history only one college player makes the top 5. The projected picks are Victor Wembanyama, 1 from France, Scoot Henderson, 2 from the G League. Then the Twins with college players Nick Smith Jr., Cam Whitmore, and Dylan Mitchell in the mix. To put that in perspective, there have only been 6 non-college guys in the top 5 total the last 10 years. 2023 could either be the norm going forward or just a weird year in draft history. I believe this late in the game, the Twins will be top picks, which is a huge win for Overtime. But what happens next? If they have successful rookie years and become all-star level talents, Overtime's gonna get a ton of credit. One NBA scout said, the Thompsons are the crown jewel of the OTE program. But if they fail, Overtime's $500 million investment fails. And you might say, who cares if a bunch of wealthy people lose a little money? But there's a lot of kids' dreams at stake too. There are 27 16 to 18-year-old boys playing for Overtime right now, dozens more being recruited from around the world. If OT goes down, it'll be hard to convince investors to start another NBA pipeline outside of the G League or college. Young athletes deserve multiple ways to monetize their talent, and college only offers NIL. Players still don't get a cut of ticket sales or TV money. Overtime could change all of that, but first, the Thompson Twins must succeed. No pressure. One of the biggest statements for the Twins was from Steph Curry himself.
Watching the Twins play, obviously they're gifted. They really stand out. The sky's the limit for what they can achieve, what they can accomplish.
Steph could just be saying that because he's a nice guy. He doesn't make negative headlines, except for what he just said about his ex-teammate Kevin Durant. I couldn't believe that Steph actually admitted this about KD, so I made a whole video about it. Check it out.